Here comes motion. Here comes the quarterback, Burrow. Looking for a block, and he got it up in the front by Hopkins into the end zone. Touchdown!
Bates throwing to the end zone. Wide open is Higgins for the Cincinnati touchdown.
There's the sneak. Burrow gets low, driving towards the goal line. He's inside the one, and he's into the end zone for the touchdown.
Welcome to New Stripe City, a YouTube channel for diehard Bengals fans. I'm your host, Ace Boogie, and if you're new here, please feel free to hit that subscribe button. We're here to talk about Joe Burrow making his debut this preseason against the Miami Dolphins. So I have said on this show for a while, I felt like this was a perfect opportunity for Joe Burrow to make his appearance, and I also felt like they'd have to get him some kind of preseason action, right? We felt like this had to happen. So for me, I think that this is smart. They have to get him out of here, make sure that it makes sense, which I think he needs the reps. Obviously, he has not played since the Washington football game. And I think that there's definitely a need for him to see how he feels with the chemistry, with the offensive line, and with Zach Taylor and the play calls. And obviously, he has to figure out what it feels like to have 300-pound men crashing in around him. And there's no better way to emulate that outside of putting him out there as a starter. So the return of Joey B is extremely exciting. It makes perfect sense. This is a smart way to do it. And the Bengals decided to do it in their third preseason game where other teams probably won't play their starters as much. We'll have to see what Miami is going to do. The Bengals defensive starters will be seeking a rest. And as we talk about defensive starters, some breaking news here is that Trey Waynes did go down during practice right now with an injury. So I'm going to take a look and see what's happening there. But hopefully he's okay. But it appears that he was limping after guarding Jamar Chase on a route. So that's something to pay attention to. Obviously, they signed Waynes to a huge deal last season. He missed all of last year. That limp does not sound too good for the Bengals. So hopefully, we'll see what happens. It appears that Paul Dehner Jr. on Twitter has just tweeted that there's no cart for Waynes, and he walks into the locker room with the trainer. So that's probably a good sign because that doesn't mean that he can't put any weight on it. So that's okay. So as far as he's out, it appears that Darius Phillips and Eli Apple are the players who could step up to replace him. So we'll have to see what's going on. Hopefully Trey Waynes is okay. We'll just have to see. It looks like he limped off the field with the trainer. He took his helmet off and struggled to put weight on his leg, but it apparently seems that he just left the field with being able to put weight on his leg. So I would say that hopefully he's okay, just something to monitor. The other thing is that our guy Trey Hopkins will also be another one that will end up making his debut. We had to see him play as well. Obviously, the Bengals offensive line has played well in the last two preseason games, and especially when you're talking about the starters. So you definitely feel comfortable with putting Joey B out there. Shout out to my man, Alonzo Ars. He's asking, and shout out to you, bro, for the super chat. He asked, what jersey is it that I have? So I'm going to stand up real quick. It's Joey B. It's number 9. As you already know, we got to definitely, if we're doing this video, it definitely had to be the Joey B that I was rocking. Let's take a look. We got another one here. Shout out to my man AWOL, the super chat for $10. Appreciate that, man. Let's get it. Let's go for sure. So I will say, obviously, a lot of people are excited. We have to see how Joe Burrow plays with his new cast of receivers. Obviously, he's had chemistry with them, playing with them, obviously, in training camp. But this will be different. This will be a game. This will be where we can actually see. And it's actually going to make this preseason game exciting, right? Because we haven't seen him in a while. And you guys know how I feel about Joe Burrow. I'm ready to see him. Obviously, they started off this season talking about him having some struggles in camp. And that's really been a thing of the past. We haven't heard that in about 2 weeks now, almost 3 weeks, honestly. So Joe Burrow has definitely hit his stride. The offense is hitting its stride. We talk about Jamar Chase, who obviously had some struggles in the last game. I said that I wasn't really worried about them at all whatsoever, and it appears that Jamar Chase is no longer worried about them whatsoever. Jamar Chase making every catch in a practice a day ago. And apparently right now, from what I'm seeing, or not a day ago, on Monday, but the last practice, I mean. But it appears right now that he's still out there making do with catches and things of that nature. So Jamar Chase is back on point. We get to see Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase, and that's very important. We also get to see how it affects the run game, right? The run game has struggled in the past couple of games in terms of the blocking aspect of it. Obviously, you had guys like Jaquez Patrick who definitely put their imprint, but when we talk about the starters, we haven't seen the run blocking that we would expect, especially coming from a man like Frank Pollock. So that's something that I would like to see, but I think that we should be good to go. I can't wait to see Joey B play. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, I'm probably going to do my stream, and I would expect the guys after that to kind of be some of the guys potentially that will get cut, as well as some of those guys that may be in a roster battle to make this. You might see a healthy dose of Noah Spence as well. So those are things that we have to keep an eye on. Now, I don't want to talk too much about it, but we'll go ahead and react here to some of the news coming out about Trey Waynes, right? Now, depending on how this goes, obviously it seems like him walking off of the field under his own strength is a good sign, but you have to prepare for the possibility that he could miss game one, right? That's a real possibility. Now, the good thing is the Bengals actually have a bit of a gap between this last preseason game and week one. So maybe that's a good thing. I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you what it is. We don't even know what kind of injury it is at this point because it's literally just happened about 10 minutes ago. But we'll have to see. But that's one of the reasons that the Bengals stocked up with outside corners. You talk about Eli Apple. I'm not here to say Eli Apple is amazing, but he at least has some experience starting on the outside. You have Darius Phillips, who has experience starting on the outside. You went out and got Mike Hilton, who primarily plays inside. You got Cheeto on the other outside aspect. So the Bengals do have some options there that they could play in a pinch that they don't have Cheeto. Now, obviously, with you playing against a team that has Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen week one, you would want to get him back. And then you look at the following week where you have the Chicago Bears coming in with Allen Robinson coming into town. Obviously, you would want to have one of your top flight corners for that. But hopefully this recovery period is enough to get Trey Waynes back on the field, and hopefully he's not done for the season. And we're just going to look at it optimistically at this point until we get any further news on it. I don't want to go too hard on him. Obviously, people are going to be upset because Waynes did get hurt last season. So we're just pretty anxious to actually see him hit the field and hope that everything is okay. Now, these kind of things happen in training camp, as we saw, as my last video indicated. We talked about Joseph Osai going down for the season. These things just happen. But we'll have to see where this puts Waynes at and where this puts the Bengals secondary at, right? But let's just pray for no more injuries. Let's hope that everything goes well. Can't wait to see Joey B. The defense showed us a lot last week. I'm not too sure what we could really look for in terms of that. Just some other news that I'm seeing come in. It looks like Thaddeus Moss is also making a pretty impressive run at this roster. Looks like he just had a nice catch in practice as well. So those are things to take into consideration, because Moss had a nifty one-handed snag down the left side of the field. And that was one of the final team drills of the day. So it looks like practice is about to be over. So obviously the big story is going to be where is Trey Waynes going to be at? And obviously, how many snaps is Joe Burrow going to play? I think, honestly, I've said from day one, I think it should be 2 series, maybe 1 series if you just want to be safe. The Bengals go out and score on their first series, take Joe Burrow out the game. Honestly, that's all we need to see. That's all he really needs is just a series or 2. I don't think that you need to play him the entire first quarter. I don't think you need to do any of that first half or any of that. I think you throw him in for a few series, take him out. Zach Taylor did say he had a number of plays in mind. He might not even make it the entire series that they're out there. He might only be out there for 8 plays, but the good indication is that he's going to be able to get out there so he can knock some of that rust off, so he can feel what it feels like to be in a live game. And not only that, it's going to be in front of the fans in Cincinnati. So that's an even better thing. So if you are in the area, I suggest you definitely go and hit it up. But as usual, please leave me some comments under this video. Please hit that subscribe button. We are still giving away a jersey. You can get a fresh jersey like this Joey B if you hit that subscribe button. We're giving away a jersey at 15,000 subs. So tell your friends, even if they're not Bengals fans, it'll be a jersey of your choice. But as usual, I'll leave you guys with a who day, all day, every day, and especially on Sunday.
Here comes motion. Here comes the quarterback, Burrow. Looking for a block, and he got it up in the front by Hopkins into the end zone. Touchdown!
Fakes, throwing to the end zone, wide open is Higgins for the Cincinnati touchdown.
There's the sneak. Burrow gets low, driving towards the goal line. He's inside the 1, and he's into the end zone for the touchdown.